Have you ever wondered why quiet people get more things done? If you have, well, you're not alone, because our curiosity also pushed us to explore this subject. Psychologists have explained that humans can be divided into two broad personalities based on how they build their energy. If you build your energy by interacting and socializing with other people, you can be said to be an extrovert. But if you build your energy from being quiet and spending time by yourself, it's said that you're an introvert. But why do these quiet individuals get more done despite spending most of their time with themselves? Well, let's find out. Welcome to Alux. Number 1. They listen more. Quiet people don't do a lot of talking, so where do they invest all that energy? Listening. Rather than talking about why something went wrong or whining about how difficult a certain task is, quiet people would rather listen for constructive criticism or feedback. And this factor also makes them relatively easy to work with. Everybody wants to be seen and heard, and what better way to do things than by listening attentively to what other people have to say? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that people who talk a lot aren't good listeners. It simply points to the fact that quiet people don't really enjoy talking, so they would rather listen to you. And this becomes a habit in the long run, which in turn causes them to become intent listeners, reading body language and catching on to every single detail. And on a related note, number 2, they're a sponge of information. Now, you've probably wondered what introverts and quiet people do with all their time. I mean, if they don't frequent parties or hang out at the bar every Friday night, and if they don't hang out with friends as much as extroverts do. So the big question is, what do they do with all that time? Well, most quiet people use this time as an opportunity to learn. They read books, watch movies or documentaries, learn how to use new software, play games, read articles, watch the news, or involve themselves in something that would make them feel productive. Naturally, when they do this over and over again, they start to slowly become a sponge of information, knowing a little bit about everything. And most importantly, they know how to bring this wealth of information to their careers and personal lives, making them achieve even more in the long run. Number 3, they have a learner's mentality. Again, being quiet will fill you with the need to always learn. I mean, they usually have the time on their hands, the time meant for a hangout with friends, the time for a party. Instead of going to these social events, they would rather stay in their homes and finish up on a book or a task. This constant need to learn gives them a learner's mentality, a belief that there's always something new to learn from a situation, a person, a job, or even an opportunity that doesn't come their way. Having a learner's mentality makes it easier to become a sponge for information, and when you do, you can make some life-changing improvements for yourself based on what you have learned. Number 4, they take notes, both mental and physical. Every quiet person knows this. Notes are important. They never make the assumption that they'll remember the idea or that inspiration. So rather than take the chance of losing it forever, they write it down. But it isn't just about writing things down. Introverted people are great observers, so taking mental notes is a huge part of their lifestyle too. Have you ever noticed that your quiet friend is usually the first to notice something distinctive about you? Or usually is the only one who remembers something specific about you, like maybe the fact you like your coffee with more milk than sugar, or that you never take a drink unless something is really bothering you. This ability to take mental notes causes them to be great friends and colleagues, which in turn makes you more likely to share opportunities or want to work with them. Number 5. They are great at planning. Again, what do you do with your time if you've got more than enough of it? Well, you make careful plans. Quiet people are usually in their heads a lot, and it gives them time to process information for as long as needed. They know exactly how long it'll take them to complete a task, what they need to do to complete it, and the probable challenges that will come up along the way. Then, they make a solid plan around all of it. Planning your goals and aspirations is a major part of being successful. Even though some successful individuals thrive on spontaneity, careful planning gives you an ability to control the situation to a very large extent, increasing the chances of being successful at it. The fact that they also take more time to process information gives them more time to develop improved strategies to execute their ideas. Number 6, they observe more than they speak. Observation is the superpower of every quiet person. Come on, these people could sit alone at a table in a cafe and observe everyone around them, giving themselves a better understanding of the environment than any other person. And interestingly, strong observational skills are very important in the business world. You have to be able to observe your market, your potential clients, and even your business partners. By observing their environment, a quiet person is more likely to discover a consistent pattern for success. And to become successful, they just have to replicate this pattern. Smart, right? Of course it is. You can't deny this genius. Number 7, they are creative. If you spend the majority of your time in your head, it's only a matter of time before your imagination becomes enhanced. And if you develop an improved imagination, you will no doubt have an astounding effect on your creativity. Careful observation and planning allows quiet people to see problems from inventive perspectives. With more time on their hands to come up with solutions, they're more likely to discover ingenious ways to solve a problem. Creativity and silence have a huge connection. It's why writers, painters, and even musicians sometimes need a heavy dose of quiet time to get creative. Number 8, they know their priorities. If you spend half your day holed up in your bedroom with no human connection, you're bound to see things that are important to you. You lost your job? Okay, you already know there's no use feeling depressed about it. Instead, the priority is to understand why this happened and prevent it from happening again. Most times, quiet people will also prioritize their quiet time over meeting up with friends. Despite the fact that this wouldn't sit so well with their friends, quiet people see it as a priority that should sit above everything else. Furthermore, understanding your priorities and going for them typically guarantees some success in life, usually because you aren't wasting time with unimportant things. Number 9, they are self-aware. By being self-aware, quiet people are usually able to change how they are perceived by other people. They're always thinking of how they look and sound to others, and most times, this gives them an opportunity to define their persona to fit certain situations. This also pushes them to make an effort to become a better person. Come to think of it, is it common to find a quiet person in a situation where they could be embarrassed? Not so common, right? That's because they're so self-aware of their skills and personality type that they would never willingly or knowingly put themselves in a difficult position unless it's necessary for their growth. Number 10, they have control of their mind. What's the advantage of interacting with your mind on a regular basis? Well, you develop a mastery of how your mind works. And if you've got the power to control your mind, you can filter out negative thoughts, improve your emotional health, and also your self-control. Your mind controls everything that you do, and if you allow it to have the upper hand, it'll throw you out of the driver's seat. Importantly, controlling your mind helps you to control how you react to situations, whether positively or negatively, which on the other hand could have an effect on the quality of your life. Number 11, they use obscurity as an opportunity to grow. Most people like to be seen and applauded for their efforts, including quiet people, but well, not all the time. Quiet people like obscurity because it affords them the opportunity to grow and improve on their own terms. While being in public is a great way to get feedback and constructive criticism, you'll agree it kind of puts a certain level of pressure on your shoulders. However, quiet people use building an obscurity to learn other important skills such as self-control, mastery of the mind, and the ability to keep working despite nobody being there to applaud the little wins. Usually, quiet people are more interested in results rather than letting the world know about the process. You could say they take the following quote quite literally: confuse them with your silence and shock them with your results. Number 12, They can easily gain the trust of other people. They listen intently, pay attention, and they don't particularly have too much to say. Now, that's a number of ways to gain the trust of other people. As mentioned earlier, we all love to be listened to, and when this happens, it makes us feel safe around the listener, a factor that contributes significantly to building trust. Here's a question for you. Who are you most likely to trust in the span of 3 months? A friend who speaks every minute, barely allowing you to chip in a word? Or a friend who listens and asks the right questions? The latter, right? This is because feeling heard is a strong part of being human and a recipe for building trust. Also, we all naturally feel like our secrets are safer with quiet people because, well, they actually are. Number 13. They can typically concentrate better. In a world where noise has become a constant part of our lives, the need to concentrate has become even more important. We can barely go a minute in today's world without being distracted by something. A smartphone, a loud horn in the street, a fight, or even the noise from the television. But quiet people have another superpower up their sleeves, an ability to stay laser-focused when they complete a task. Usually they're able to avoid distractions, and this explains why they really hate interruptions, because it cuts off their flow of thought. Naturally, this makes them more productive, and they usually get a lot of things done in record time. Number 14. They are selective about who they make friends with. It's pretty common for a quiet person to not seek out social validation. This is usually because they have a strong belief in their abilities to survive alone and sometimes don't see certain human interactions as a priority or even enjoyable. Luckily for them, this makes it easier to walk away from toxic and unhealthy relationships. It's no news that quiet people ordinarily don't have many friends, and this isn't because they're shy, they're just really selective about who they bring into their inner circle. This careful examination makes them more likely to develop meaningful and richer relationships, which you just never know might be what they need to build something successful. If you've seen our previous videos, then you already know how particular we can be about our friendships and relationships. Number 15. They are intuitive. Did you know that you can sharpen your instincts? Well, the secret is none other than constant introspection. Quiet people spend an awful lot of time thinking, building scenarios, and imagining events in their minds. And while this might seem like an aimless, endless venture, it actually helps them to have a better understanding of their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. With a better understanding of these things, we learn to navigate life with more clarity, using our instinct as a meter for judging situations. It's that little voice, and even though it isn't right all of the time, listening to this voice and sometimes doing what it suggests is a great way to train your instinct. If we don't take the time to be introspective, our thoughts will always feel jumbled up. And hey, Luxer, that was quite a ride, but it's a wrap for today. If you're a quiet person, I'm pretty sure this list has shown you more ways you can profit from your quiet nature. But it's not all about being quiet. Extroverted people can also infuse a number of these habits into their lifestyle. I mean, why not? And hey, Luxer, since you stuck around with us until the very end, you know we're holding on to a bonus for you. Number 16. They are good decision makers. Quiet people are deep thinkers and have the ability to concentrate, are intuitive and good observers, and all of these factors are ones that make them into great decision makers. They think of every possible scenario and understand their environment fully, which eventually leads to better and more informed decisions. And there you have it, Luxer. Thanks for spending some time with us today. We're so glad you did. If you found value in today's video, please give us a like, hit that bell icon to never miss an upload, and don't forget to subscribe.